Veterans, family, friends, and guests, thank you for coming out today as we remember that this Memorial Day weekend is about so much more than an auto race, cookouts in the backyard, and an extra day off work. We take today to reflect on ordinary Americans, kids from our hometowns and hometowns across this country, ordinary Americans who exhibited extraordinary valor and gave the last full measure. And it's especially poignant this year as we celebrate 250 years of independence. We need to remember how we got here. President Dwight Eisenhower was touring the Revolutionary War battlefield at Valley Forge and was being shown from one historic spot to another. And he made this statement at the conclusion of his tour: "This is where they got it for us." What did he mean? He meant that those men and thousands of others in all the wars that America has fought purchased with their very lives the freedoms that we enjoy today in the land of the free and the home of the brave. That short statement from our president rings true today, all these years later. Battlefields all over the world are hallowed and holy ground to every American, and we pause today to give those who fell on those battlefields our highest honors, humbly realizing the sacred trust that these, our war dead, have handed to us. Billy Graham told this story. "I stood by the bedside of a boy in Korea whose spine had been torn away by a shell blast the night before, but by some miracle he was still living. He was unable to change his position, and if he lived, the doctor informed me, the rest of his days would be spent lying on his stomach. The Army medics had patched him up the best they could. I gripped his cold, perspiring hand and said words of comfort to him. He made a statement I will never forget. He said it was worth it if it will keep America free." Folks, that's what you call getting it for us. As we think of the selflessness and heroism of such people, we're reminded of the words of Jesus Christ, who said, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down his life for his friends." The freedoms we enjoy, the freedoms we take so much for granted, the freedoms we often trifle with, were not bought by the gold of our millionaires, nor altogether the genius of our scientists, nor the sacrifices of the people at home, but primarily by the blood, sweat, and agony of those whose names on this day we honor. Those who fought and died that we might live. From Bunker Hill to Baghdad, Americans from communities throughout the United States have answered their nation's call and made the ultimate sacrifice. Included on this hallowed list of heroes is Air Force Staff Sergeant William Pitsenbarger. 60 years ago, in a thick jungle near Saigon, a company of soldiers from the 1st Infantry Division was surrounded and outnumbered by Viet Cong. Enemy soldiers were estimated to be close to 400. Pitsenbarger, a pararescue jumper, voluntarily entered the danger area through a helicopter drop so he could administer aid and evacuate the wounded. Armed with a rifle, pistol, and medical bag, Pitsenbarger refused evacuation 9 times while he helped others get to safety. He repeatedly collected and distributed ammunition to soldiers under fire. He continued assisting others while fighting the enemy, even after being wounded 3 times. Pitts, as he was affectionately called by his friends, would fall in battle. He epitomized the motto of pararescue jumpers, which is, quote, "These things we do that others might live," unquote. His body was later found with his rifle in one hand and his medical bag in the other. He was 21. For his actions on April 11th, 1966, William H. Pitsenbarger of Piqua, Ohio, was posthumously awarded the Medal of Honor and promoted to Staff Sergeant. The families continued by those he rescued will always be Staff Sergeant Pitsenbarger's legacy. He did so others may live. That's an ethos shared by so many of America's fallen heroes. Their noble, unselfish sacrifice is a silent, eloquent rebuke to the self-centeredness of some in our country. Let those who want peace at any price remember this day, that thousands have died for honor and freedom, and that what we have today has come at the price of spilled blood. We remember today so many in the early flower of youth who were willing to die for something larger than themselves. And the fact dawns on me that if they were willing to die for America, it's up to us to live for America. They have handed us a torch, and we have a responsibility to see that they have not died in vain. The sacrifices of our war dead have been great, yet the greatest sacrifice of all time was made by a man on a cross who died not only physically but spiritually, that men might live. We have neglected him too long. We have rejected his plan for peace, and as a result, we have fought, bled, and died for centuries. I challenge the world on this day to accept his offer of heart regeneration that can transform the society in which we live, and we can know the meaning of genuine peace in our time. Yes, the bells of liberty ring in America today because these men and women we honor today got it for us. The sacred memory of their sacrifice will always live in our hearts, immortalized on monuments, remembered in documents. And we now have a sacred and holy trust, and we cannot fail them. The true way to honor the fallen is to live in a way worthy of their sacrifice. That means strengthening our communities, helping our fellow veterans, supporting military families, and teaching the next generation what this day truly means. We must tell their stories. We must speak their names. We must ensure that our children and grandchildren understand that the freedoms they inherit were paid for with courage, service, and sacrifice. My mind goes back 2,000 years to another battle, which was fought on a hill called Calvary. It was a battle of one young man against all the forces of evil. It seemed like a futile, hopeless struggle as Jesus Christ took on Satan's task force single-handed. The jeers of the rabble, the spit of the soldiers, and the sneering of the people were incidental compared to the inner struggle which was taking place in his soul. But I envision him as one hand is stretched out toward God and the other toward rebellious man. And he makes the connection and says, "It is finished." He got it for us. If we're to be strong spiritually, it will be through him. Thousands today are finding a fresh new meaning of life through him. They are learning to say with confidence, "I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me." Our freedom as a nation was grounded in his grace. The French philosopher and historian Alexis de Tocqueville toured the United States in its infancy and had many observations. One quote of his I want to share today underscores the vigilance we are called to. He said, "Nothing is more wonderful than the art of being free, but nothing is harder to learn how to use than freedom." To honor the legacy of the fallen, we should all commit to the freedom offered by this greatest nation on earth. We should commit to a land where patriotism eclipses politics, where the American flag is displayed proudly and frequently, and where military veterans are society's true celebrities. More than 1.1 million have died defending the United States in wars and combat actions since the American Revolution, and they each have stories to tell. The crosses at Normandy, the graves at Arlington, the names on this monument, and those on monuments all across this great country, the fallen heroes who rest in places unknown. We are here today for them. In closing, as we remember those who gave all, let's also remember the challenge we have before us. The torch they handed us cannot fall. It cannot go out. We must honor them and their sacrifice by fighting for what they fought for. Freedom is always one generation from extinction. They got it for us. It's up to us to keep it. May God bless those who have fallen in battle. May he bless our memory of them, and may he bless these United States of America.